My name is Shiba and I'm from Group 1. Today, we're diving into a new way of learning and sharing ideas, conversational framework. Do you want to know how conversational framework works? Think of it like a dynamic, interactive playground for our minds. We'll be exploring different perspectives, challenging assumptions, and building upon each other's thoughts in real time. So imagine a classroom where everyone's voice matters, where ideas bounce off each other, sparking new insights. That's what conversational framework is all about. It's not just about the lectures and textbooks, it's about building a dynamic space for dialogue and discovery. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. What if we integrate a grade 8 lesson, figures of speech in conversational framework? But before that, let's define figures of speech. Figures of speech is a creative use of language to generate an effect. Some figures of speech like metaphors, simile, and personification are found in everyday language. Figures of speech are literal devices that go beyond the literal meaning of words to create a more vivid, impactful, and engaging effect. They are essential for enhancing communication, enriching writing, and fostering deeper understanding. For further knowledge, let's watch this demonstration.
Good morning, class.
Good morning,
Christy. Okay, you know, sit down. So, how are you feeling today? We're fine, Mom. Okay. So, please settle yourselves as we discuss our new lesson. But before that, let's have a short activity. So, all you have to do here is that you have to cite the differences between these two photos. So, can anybody tell me what are the differences? Okay, Ms. Alvarez.
So in the first picture, the flowers are very colorful, while the other one looks dull since it's just black and white.
Okay, that's a good observation. So, can anyone or another hand? Okay, please go back on.
The colorful flower seems happy and light, while the black and white seems sad.
Okay, that's good. All your ideas are correct. So, you may wonder why I give you these photos. It is because it has something to do with our lesson for today, which is the figures of speech. Okay. Are you ready to delve into our lesson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first up is we use the acronym SHAPDO that stands for S stands for simile, and then H stands for hyperbole, and then A stands for alliteration, and then M it is metaphor, and then P is personification, and then O is
Onomatopoeia.
oh, I guess you have an idea about our lesson for today. First, we have simile. A simile compares two unlike things using the words like or as. For example, her smile was as bright as the sun. So I used the word as. Can anyone give an example of a simile? Okay, Ms. Marianne.
His voice is like music to my ear.
Okay, that's right. Okay, Miss Sophia. She runs as fast as the wind. Okay, she used the word as also. Next is hyperbole. So this is an exaggerated statement not meant to be taken literally. So for example, I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. So the statement here is being exaggerated. So can anyone give me an example of a hyperbole? Okay, Ms. Tabato.
I'm so tired, I could sleep for 1,000 years.
Okay, another example. Okay, Ms.
Then the heels a hyperbole, ma'am.
Yes, it is considered as an hyperbole because it is unrealistic. Next, we have alliteration. So this is the repetition of the same initial consonant sound in a series of words. So for example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So the consonant sound that's being repeated is the letter P. Yes, the letter P. So who can think of a sentence who has alliteration? Okay, Ms. Maria.
My example, ma'am, is seven slippery snakes slid silently.
Okay, that's correct. The consonant that's being repeated is the letter S.
Ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Barbara.
Big brown bears boldly dance. The consonant there is B.
Yes, that's right. Another example. Okay, Miss Alvarez.
Since I noticed that alliteration is more like a tongue twister, so my example here is Lucy loves licking lollipops.
Yes, the repeated consonant sound is letter.
Apple.
Yes, okay. Next is metaphor. A word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. So, Miss Alvarez, can you read the example?
Time is a thief.
Yes, okay. That's an example of metaphor. So, can you cite another example of a metaphor? Okay, Mr. Tia.
What about her heart is a cold stone?
Yes, it may be an example of a metaphor. Another hand.
Ma'am,
Okay, Miss Leanne.
the classroom was a zoo.
Okay, that's right also.
Ma'am,
Okay, Mr. Bach.
his mind is still trapped.
Okay. Now we'll move on to personification. So this gives human traits to non-human things. So for example, the tree is sad. So why do you think it is considered as personification? Okay, Miss Alvarez.
I think it's considered personification, ma'am, because it's giving a human trait or human emotions to non-living things. So we all know that a tree can't possibly, have emotions since they're non-living things like this. So I think that's it, ma'am.
Okay, a very good explanation, right? So for the last figures of speech, we have onomatopoeia. So this is when a word imitates the sound it represents, like buzz or bang.
Or boom!
Yes, that's right.
The sound of a cat, ma'am.
Yes, the sound of a cat is meow. Now you have learned about figures of speech, so let's have an activity.
So, okay, class. Now it is now an activity time. So today, I'm going to show you all a few clips from cartoons or movies. Then you're gonna identify what type of figure of speech it was saying from a character in the clip. So let's start with the first clip.
I could eat about 1.5 million of these. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Oh, okay, class, that was the first clip. So did you notice in the video, he said something like, my mama always says that life is like a box of chocolate. So, in this phrase, what type of figure of speech did he use to convey such phrase? Oh, Miss Cabagon,
Simile.
why is it simile?
Because it is comparing two things using like or as.
So correct. Impressive. Now for the second clip, now let's proceed for the next video.
hungry, Mother. I'm hungry. Now, Rolly, you've just had your dinner. But I am just the same. I'm so hungry I could eat a whole elephant.
So that was for the second clip. So, as you noticed, the dog said that he was so hungry that he could eat a whole elephant. So, what type of figure of speech did he convey such praise? Okay, Miss Alvarez,
I think it's hyperbole, sir.
why is it hyperbole?
Because he uses unrealistic comparisons, so he exaggerated way too much.
Good, correct. Because he exaggerates so much at its own praise. Now, let's proceed for the next clip.
Well, at least you have someone to dream about.
Guys don't exactly want to jump your bones when you're a metal mouth.
What is that attitude? We are young. Heartache to heartache we stand. Love is a battlefield.
The third clip, she said, love is a battlefield. So, what type of figure of speech did she convey? Okay, Miss Balian.
She uses metaphor, sir.
So, why do you think it's metaphor?
Because she compares and relates things similarly.
Yes, that's correct. Because we notice that love and battlefield seems very unrelated, but they put it so symbolically as it is. So now for the last clip, it's a bit tricky. So I want you to identify what the character says in the last clip. Then you identify what type of figure of speech you use. Now let's proceed to the last video.
Boom. You looking for this? Boom. Are you looking? Why do I even talk to you guys? Everywhere else that story kills.
That's the whole story?
Yeah, it's a War Machine story.
Oh, this is very good then. It's impressive.
Okay, so in this clip, it's a bit tricky now. So, what type of speech and identify what word or phrase of a character, of one of the characters said in that clip? So, Miss Katil?
I think, sir, it's an onomatopoeia type or kind of figure of speech because of what the boy or he said, which is boo, and it's like he's describing something, sir.
Okay, good answer. And yeah, that was mostly a onomatopoeia. We can hardly notice that the onomatopoeia was because it was not a phrase. Sometimes it's just word that describes a sound. Like, yes, the word boom, one of the characters said, was a part of a figure of speech. So that was a good answer and good explanation, Miss Desiree Katigel. Now, for the last activity, let's have a conclusive questions about our related topic. For our last activity, I'll be asking a series of questions for you all. So, the first question is, why do you think we use figures of speech like metaphors or similes in everyday conversations or writing? So, who can answer the first question?
Okay, so figures of speech makes our language more creative and interesting. Instead of saying something like, she's kind, we can use the metaphor, she has a heart of gold, to show how deeply kind she is. It paints a picture in the listener's mind, making the idea more powerful and memorable. That's all.
Okay, good, that's right. It makes the conversation more lively or from just a plain one. So, for the next question is, how do figures of speech, like personification, where objects or animals act like humans, make stories more engaging? Can you think of an example? Okay, Miss.
So for me, sir, first personification makes stories more fun and relatable because just like from our discussions earlier, it gives life to things that don't normally act like humans. So like for example, another example is that the wind whispered through the trees. So it makes the wind seem like it has emotions or actions, which makes the scene feel more alive and interesting to readers.
Yes, I agree with your answer. Just like as we noticed, most of the poets use this type of figurative speech to show more of a poetic rhythm to the stories or the messages they're trying to convey. So, for the last question, do you think understanding figure of speech helps us understand deeper meaning of a poems or stories? So who can answer this last question? Okay, Miss Kalihan.
Yes, sir. Understanding figures of speech can help us get the deeper meaning because they often reveal hidden feelings or ideas. For example, sir, in a poem, if someone says, "My heart is a broken vase," it's not just about a vase. It tells us the person feels fragile or hurt. Knowing how figures of speech work lets us uncover these emotions and connect more with the text.
Okay, that's a good explanation and thank you for the response. It's true for the what our literature since from the beginning of our time. They use this type of figurative speech, but they just didn't know that they are actually using it. So yeah, that's a great answer. So that's all for today, and there is no assignment. So yes, rest assured, you all can rest well, and class dismissed.
Bye, sir.
If
Oh, hi there! During the discussion, there are three activities given. These are preliminary activity, activity during the lesson proper, and activity after the lesson. During the preliminary activity, the facilitator engaged the class in a discussion, asking if they were familiar with figures of speech to activate prior knowledge. This dialogue encouraged students to recall past lessons and actively participate by sharing what they knew. The open-ended inquiry fostered interactive communication, prompting deeper learning through questioning, answering, and feedback. In the lesson proper, the conversational framework is utilized to enhance students' comprehension of figures of speech by combining multimedia and interactive discussion. The facilitator starts by playing the video clips and asking the class to watch and point out figures of speech. This is in line with the framework's emphasis on encouraging children to think critically about what they see and hear by posing questions. Following the screening, the students are asked to contribute to a class discussion by sharing their views and explaining the figures of speech they saw. As for the last activity, the teacher asked a series of questions and the students answer based on their understanding that prepares the groundwork for the next stage and aids in bringing out past information. Since this course is essential for each step, activating past knowledge, getting students involved in creation, and encouraging reflective feedback, it is clear that the conversational framework is used throughout.
How about advantages and benefits? Numerous advantages and benefits are provided by the conversational framework for teaching and learning. It encourages active engagement and enables students to become co-constructors of knowledge rather than passive users by arranging lesson around discourse. Students are encouraged to think critically as they develop concepts discussed in class using this framework. So, how do the framework support the learning objectives of the lesson? Well, it is by understanding and employing figures of speech. It requires active participation, engagement, and feedback. A conversational framework facilitates these learning objectives to assist students understand the figures of speech and their function in language. This method places a strong emphasis on dialogue.
As we finish talking about using conversations in language learning, I want you to remember how important they are. As we can see from the demonstration earlier, conversations are more than just speaking. They help us truly learn a language. When we talk to others, we practice not just words and rules, but also how the language feels and sounds in real life. Conversations let us think in the language and help us respond naturally. They give us the chance to improve, make mistakes, and learn from them. And this is how our confidence grows and how we start speaking more fluently. Using a conversational framework in the classroom or during personal learning is a great way to improve understanding and make learning more enjoyable. This approach encourages students to engage in discussions, ask questions, and explain their thoughts to others. Instead of just listening to a teacher or reading from the book, students actively participate in the learning process. Overall, applying a conversational framework in learning, whether in a classroom setting or while studying alone, has many benefits. It makes learning more interactive, improves understanding, develop critical thinking, and build confidence. Students and teachers alike can benefit from this approach by fostering an environment where discussion and curiosity are encouraged.